I've got a fun property on the Bighorn River out here in Basin, Wyoming. My name's Miles McLaughlin here at Wilco Land. I'm going to go through this property. I'm going to answer common questions. I'm going to teach you what I know about this piece of land and really dive into satellite imagery, the target audience, what's possible, and cover the whole access conversation around this too. So we're right outside of the Bighorn Mountain Range in Basin, Wyoming for a location. I'll start by showing you where the property is located here on a map. We're about halfway in between the Bighorn National Forest and Yellowstone National Park. Really a cool location in this country up here in northern Wyoming. We're already getting a lot of interest in this property, so it's something really exciting to list. It's 160 acres out here in Wyoming. This is truly a popular listing in today's day and age. Generational land investment, a place to hunt, fish, recreate, even build someday down the road. So there's a lot of potential uses with it. And your riverfront on the Bighorn River. I think this photo does really, does the property a lot of justice. I want to pause here just for a second to help you understand exactly what you're looking at. This is the property that I'm circling here. This is the frontage over here on the Bighorn River, right around here. I'll talk about that a little bit more in the video, but I'll do my best to really lay out this property and what we're selling here at Wilco Land. So I'm going to click through a few of the photos to give you guys a better look at what we're advertising. Again, the property's over here on this side of the river, on the eastern side of the Bighorn River, right outside of the town of Basin, Wyoming. Something really nice about the property is there is power lines running through the property too. So it is, electric is available out here on the piece of land. You've got some long-range views of the Bighorn Mountains, and again, you're not too far away from Cody, Wyoming, and Yellowstone National Park and the Montana border. So, going through some of these photos, I do start all my videos with a quick disclaimer. This isn't legal advice. It's not real estate advice. This is me simply sharing my thoughts and opinions on this property here with you today through my 10 plus years of experience in the land industry and my own due diligence. And I do have a lot to unpack in this video talking about the property. Again, another photo that really does it justice looking at the property I'm circling right there. So I won't spend too much time on this piece of land. We've tried to outline it right there for you. There is river frontage. I'll talk about where that's located here in a minute. It's about, I think, 160 yards, 200 feet, something like that. Let's go through the listing and find out. So going through here, you guys can read all through the description. I showed you guys where the property is located here on a map, right outside of the Bighorn National Forest, pretty close to Yellowstone National Park in Cody, Wyoming. Zooming in back into the listing, we're out here in Bighorn County. The property's unzoned, so possibilities are endless with a property like this. And something I want to talk about is, the river frontage, 300 feet of river frontage. I want to show you where that's located, and I want to talk about access. Right now, there's currently no legal access to the property. I'm going to dive a little bit more into that. I've shared some information here in the access notes. Wyoming is actually a state that, it's not a matter of if you can get access, it's a matter of when, right? There's an established legal process to get access to properties like this, and I've actually retained an attorney already. So the price you see today is the price you're getting without access. So you as the buyer, if you are interested in this type of land investment, you can go on the property, you can get on the Bighorn River. There's a public access site really close to this piece of land that I'll show you here on a map. So there's a walk-in fishing access site. So there's a parking area up here. There's access down here in this area too. You're 600 yards away from the property. Check this out, along the river that gets you to our property. You're 600 yards down the Bighorn River, and if you follow it, like I said, about 624 yards to simply go down the river, take a canoe, take a kayak, a paddleboard. I should have checked before this video if motorized boats are allowed on the Bighorn River. I assume a John boat with a certain motor would be allowed, right? You'll just have to get on Google and look that up on the Bighorn River here, but you do have public access to get to the property. The second route you can go through, speaking of access right now, so taking a step back, we're talking about recreational use of the property. That's the actual listing price right now. I have retained an attorney, and we are going through this established process that the state of Wyoming has to acquire legal access. That process could take a year. It could take 3 months. It could take 2 years. That timeline is unknown, right? So there's some uncertainty to it, but it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, from what I'm understanding. Of course, I can't guarantee it at the sale. If I could, we'd be asking $300,000, give or take. So the price you're seeing right now is a price we're willing to sell it today before we get too far down this rabbit hole of getting legal access established to the property. And I will talk more about that here in a second. But some of the benefits of why you would buy the property today is you're getting the property at basically 50% of market value. This is 160 acres of Wyoming land with a good amount of river frontage here on the Bighorn River. I'll draw that out for you guys to show you exactly how much frontage. It's about 120 yards, so what is that, 360 feet of river frontage on the Bighorn River. That's huge. That's a huge opportunity. It's a great hunting property, and it's a place that does have power lines that you can build on. And there's also another access point across the state of Wyoming land here. So you see this strip of state of Wyoming property. You can actually go down to the end of this road. It's state land. It's publicly accessible. You could, swim across the Bighorn River or take a canoe across it, whatever the heck you want to do. You could slackline across it, right? And you could get over to this side, and then you can access a property right here. Okay, so I wanted to point out this other access route too. It comes in right off Bighorn Avenue. You cross the railroad track there. You take Bighorn Avenue all the way to the end here. And this is actually state land, which makes it a really convenient way to access a property. Just stay within the state land boundary, and then you're going to end up on our property that we're advertising, which is this 160 acre property right here. Okay, so you've got two access points right now for recreational use on the Bighorn River. That's going to be from the fishing access site. You're going to drop a boat in up here or down here. You're going to float on and access the property right here. The other place you can go is you can park right here, throw a canoe in, paddleboard, whatever, float across the water, and take this strip of land here. I'll measure this out for you. Take this strip of land right here, about 295 yards, and then you're on our 160 acre that we're advertising. So I wanted to talk about the two recreational opportunities to access a property today. Go out there, fish, hunt, set up campgrounds, yurts, teepees, things like that. You can bring a lot of material on the property via the river. That's not that big of a deal. I sell a lot of land like that. This will more than likely sell before we get access, just due to the opportunity that exists in the state of Wyoming. And I put one of the statutes down here. After talking with my attorney, there are a couple other statutes that we can pursue to get this legal access. And this creates a lot of upside potential. I've talked to a realtor out here too that seems fairly confident in this process. The state of Wyoming, like I said, we are really confident in acquiring access, and that will change the price. So as I get further down this process, whether it's in a month, 3 months, or a year, I don't know the timeline. I don't know how fast I'm going to get the next answer and the next answer, right? The legal process takes time. There's mail involved. It goes that route. People that are going that route, that's a huge value add opportunity to pick the property up right now. My estimated costs are somewhere probably around $25,000 to $35,000 to acquire access, and then your property doubles in value. So I do think there's days I question why we're listing this property and selling it, because the upside, I don't think you're going to have to pay a lot of money to get access. And the reason I say that, after talking with our attorney, is that these roads exist. There are utility easements and utility roads that go onto the property, like clearly established roads. So you're not actually doing damage to your neighboring properties. That's a huge thing, is paying them back for the damages done to their land to get your road in. And then you've got my two possible access routes, and I relay them over here on a map, is basically coming in from the north on this road. That would bring you in there, or coming in from, I think it's called Torchlight Road over here, down here. Those are existing utility easements that actually go back to the property already, right? And so, that's a really good sign for acquiring legal access as well. So again, this property would be sold today without legal access. I can fill you in as far as I've gotten, what I'm doing on my end, if you are serious about having that conversation, if you are serious about, making this purchase before access. But once we get far enough and we feel good enough about access and we've spent enough money on it, we probably will pull the listing down or update the price. I think the real market value for something like this is going to be $300,000, give or take. You've got river access, you've got a lot of nice land right outside of Basin, Wyoming, and it's not something that's off grid. You do have access to power, so you can build a future home, and there's existing roads going into the property, so that whole thing doesn't need to be developed. It's really just getting with a surveyor and creating some sort of easement, obviously running it through your neighbors, running it through the legal process and all that stuff. Like I said, this process could take a few months to a couple years. and anywhere in between. So I just want to be transparent and clear about that. Anybody who wants to have a high level conversation with me, just get with our team and let them know. I do think there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of value to be had here, and a lot of land to use recreationally speaking right now, until you've acquired that legal access, if that's even something you plan to do in the future. Because there's plenty of people who buy properties like this, that just want a property for hunting and fishing. They think the river access is cool. So like I said, we tried to price it with the upside in mind, with the current access conditions in mind at that $160,000 price. We're always open to cash offers, but as I continue to go down this route of acquiring legal access, it is going to be something that the price may change. So I just want to be clear about that when I'm making this video. Get with our team, get with me if you have additional questions. But yeah, this does a good representation of the property. Going through some of those photos with power lines, this is what the land looks like, and this is what you can expect when you're out there, viewing the property if you want to go take a look at it from the river. So again, that's a process we're going through. That's everything I've got to share on the property. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Any other questions, like I said, get with our team. I do have other land investments on our website, on the website at wilcolandllc.com. And there are some more photos here on Google Maps that you can look at. You can drop down on Street Views pretty close to the property, and find some other imagery out here in Basin, Wyoming. So that's about it. You can reach us here at 605-299-5553. Thanks for tuning in.